A very good morning, everybody, on this last day and the final presentations that you are going to make here. In this slot, we will have presentations by, in the same sequence, the way the names are pronounced: Aditi, Anjali, Bhavyang, Bhumika, Chandani, Daya, Hiral, Jignesh, and Khushbu. And you are going to make presentations on war poetry versus modern poetry, stream of consciousness, comparison between uh, the soldier, and I'm not able to read some word given there by Bhumika. Then modernism in literature, modern setting, science fiction in modern literature, key difference between existentialism and absurdism, and trends and movements in 20th century literary scene. So these are the topics which we are going to make presentations on. So I request, first of all, Aditi to start with the presentation.
Okay. Hello, Bhavyan. Please share your screen. Shall I start, sir?
Yeah, start your presentation.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Today I would like to present war poetry versus modern poetry. Next slide. Next. First of all, we can see. First of all, we can see what is war poetry. War poetry is a literary genre originated during wartime when hundreds of soldiers and also civilization caught up in conflict starts to write poetry as a way of striving to express extreme emotions at the very edge of experience. It, it identify it includes the very large question of life as identity, innocence, humanity, compassion, guilt, loyalty, desire, and death. This, this poem have a relation of immediate personal experience to movements of national and international crisis. Next slide. War poetry is not necessarily anti-war. Its response to these questions and its relation to immediate personal experience to movements of national and international crisis gives war poetry an extra literary importance. Owen wrote that even Shakespeare seems vapid after Sessions, not of course because Sessions is greater artist, but because of the subject. War poetry is currently studied in every school in Britain. It has become a part of mythology of nationhood and an expression of both historical consciousness and political conscience. Next slide. Here we can see what is a modern poetry. Modern poetry refers to poetry written mainly in Europe and North America between 1890 and 1950 in the tradition of modernist literature. The poet C.H. Sessions observed in his essay poetry and sincerity that modernist has been going on for a long time. Next slide. We find lot of experimental and innovation in modern poetry. Mo- Modern poetry exercises a great freedom in the choice of themes. Most of the poets have broken away from traditional completely as they that poetry should change with the changing times. The modern poetry has been called the age of anxiety. In spite of material prosperity, poets were full of tensions and anxieties which are almost and inseparable features of modern living. The disappearance of religious faith and disengagement in natural in modern poetry. Next slide. Here, here we can see the themes of the birth of the poetry. First of all, we can see war poetry's theme, the loss of innocence, brotherhood and relationships, the of the horror of war, disillusionment with religion, nature, irrationality of war, emotional and feeling. And now we can see modern poetry's themes. First one is literature and writing. Second is spirituality. Third is dissatisfaction. And fourth is life. Next. Now we can see characteristics of war poetry. It used the gruesome and showy imaginary. It signed a break off from the contemporary poetic tradition. It used the actual language of the men engaged in war and realistic documentation of war with all its brutality. Next slide. Here we can see characteristics of the modern poetry. First characteristics is diverse variety of themes, realism, love, pessimism, romantic elements, nature, human, humanitarian and democratic notes, religion and mysticism. Next slide. And here we can see some of the name of the war poets and modern poets. First of all, we can see war poets: Robert Brooke, Sigurd Session, Wilfred Owen, Robert Graves, Edward Thomas, Essex Rosenberg, John Bitching, Sidney Keys, and Ivor Garvey. Robert Brooke is a famous war poet. He is known for his idealistic war sonnets, and The Soldier is his famous work. Wilfred Owen was an English war poet. He was one of the leading poets of the First World War, and his war poetry one of the horror of trenches. And now we can see modern poets, Wallace Stevens, T.S. Eliot, William Charles Williams, W.H. Auden, Rainer Maria Rilke, Ezra Pound, Fernando Pessoa, Arthur Rimbaud, E. E. Cummings, and T.S. Eliot is one of the most important modernist poets. He is the central figure in English language modern poetry, and The Wasteland Four Quarters is his most famous works. And Ezra Pound was an one of the shaping force of modernism, with connections to the era's most influential writer, prose and poetry, and the Cantos is his famous work. Next slide. Now we can see difference between war poetry and modern poetry. The typical messages in war poems are of the destructions that cause them, families lost loved ones, houses. And another of the typical message is that there should not be wars again, or that the same mistakes that occurred at the time of the outbreak of the conflict are not committed. And modern poetry is written in simply language, the language of everyday speech, and even sometimes in dialectic or jargon like some poems of Rudyard Kipling. Modern poetry is mostly sophisticated as a result of the sophistication of the modern age. And this is most popular example is T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. Here is next slide. Here is my reference, and thank you everyone.
Okay, questions to Aditi?
Aditi, can you tell me that what is the purpose of war poetry?
Yes, Jignesh, your question is very nice. The purpose of war poetry is to create a new language which later generates use of a framework for understanding war history.
Yes,
That's my
Gauriyang,
opinion.
stop sharing. Okay. Okay, next question. Yes.
I have to ask.
That you should be knowing it.
Yes, Aditi. What are the trends of
Yeah,
modern
keep your
poetry?
camera on. Yeah, Khushbu, your camera on?
Uh, what are the trends of modern poetry?
Khushbu, please repeat your question. I can't understand your question.
What are the trends of modern poetry?
Yes, yes,
Am I audible?
yes, you are audible. In modern poetry trends against the tradition, love of purity, pity for the poor person, and suffering, disillusionment, the loss of faith in religion, and many of the influence of music and other fine arts and most of technical errors are the main trends of modern poetry during that time. That's my answer.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
if you listen carefully, normally questions are to be asked from what the student is presenting, not from anywhere outside. So, what are the presentations which are made based on that? A good question is asked. So, if you listen carefully, then only you can do that. Otherwise, you won't be able to ask a proper question based on what presentation is made. Yeah. So maybe on the fifth day when I on the in the fifth presentation when I'm telling this, I think yet now you won't have any chance to do that. But in next semester presentation, you will be careful about it. You will remember this, that you have to listen, and what is presented based on that you are supposed to ask the question to the student. Okay, fine. Next presenter is Bhavyang. And even if I'm not making announcement, as soon as the presentation is done, you have to stop sharing the screen, so that we get a full screen. When you are sharing, we get a half screen covered. If you have seen the recordings, then you might you might be aware that why I am telling that you have to, if you are not asked to show the screen quickly, you have to stop sharing, so we get a full screen where the people who are asking the questions, their camera is supposed to be on. All these instructions, I don't think again and again I have to keep on repeating. Normally I am many times my friends, colleagues, જે 50 ની આસપાસના ટીચરો હોય અથવા વાલીઓ પણ હોય, બધા એમ કહેતા હોય કે અમને ટેકનોલોજીનો અમારા વિદ્યાર્થી શીખવાડે છે. અમારા વિદ્યાર્થી, એટલે મને એમ થાય કે હું આટલો નસીબદાર ક્યારે બનીશ કે મારા વિદ્યાર્થીઓ પણ એ શીખવાડે, એને મારે શીખવાડવું ન પડે ટેકનોલોજી, અને હું એને સાહિત્યને એ જ શીખવાડું. ટેકનોલોજીની કેર એ બધા કરી લે અને મને આઈડિયા આપે કે હવે આ રીતે કરી શકાય. આવા નસીબદાર હું ક્યારે બનીશ? So this is what is expected. The young generation is good with technology. You don't have to tell them again and again that do this proper use of technology, camera, mobile. That is not. These are, we are old people. You are young people. So, but we have to see whether we are fortunate enough to see that we get this kind of students who are understanding. ભલે ના આવડે પણ ખાલી પેલું પણ હોય કે સમજદાર કો ઈશારા કાફી, એવું થાય તો પણ ભલે ટેકનોલોજીમાં માહિર ના હોય પણ the world. અને એના યુવાનો એવા તો હોવા જ જોઈએ કે સમજદાર કો ઈશારા કાફી. એક વખત કહેલું હોય તો આપણું પરફોર્મન્સ, બીજી વખત તો એવું ન જ થાય કે પાછી ટકોર કરવી પડે કે આ કેમ હજી થતું નથી. Okay, yes, Bhavyang, you can now start your presentation.
Okay, I'm presenting my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, yeah, it is visible. You can start now.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Asari Bhavyang, and today's my topic is about a stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is a style of technology of writing that tries to capture the natural flow of of character extended through the process, often by incorporating sensory impression, incomplete ideas, unusual syntax, and rough grammar. A stream of consciousness writing allows the reader to listen in on a character thoughts. That the technique often involves the use of language in unconscious way in an attempt to replicate the complicated pathway that thought take as they unfold and move through the mind. In short, it is the use of a language to mimic the streaming nature of conscious thought. Stream of consciousness can be written in the first person as well as the third person. Stream of consciousness is consciousness writing is associated with the early 20s modernist movement. The term stream of consciousness originated in psychology psychology before the literary critic began using it to describe a narrative style that despite, however, think a stream of consciousness is used primarily in fictions and poetry, but the term has also been used to describe a play and a film that attempt to visually represent a character thought. What makes a stream of consciousness different? Syntax and grammar, association, repetition, plot structure. First is syntax and grammar. Stream of consciousness writing does not usually follow ordinary rule of a grammar and a word order. This is because the thought of often not fully formed, or they change a course in the middle and become run on sentence, or they are interrupted by another thought. So grammar and syntax can be used to replicate this process in a way that are grammatically or a syntactically correct, but that nonetheless feel accurate. Writer of stream of consciousness often use a punctuation in unconventional way. And second point is about association. Stream of consciousness is also makes us of associative thought. In this style of writing, writer transist between ideas using a lost connection that are often based on a character personal experience and memories. The idea is that this technique helps writer convey the experience of human thought more accurately than they could by using a series of idea connected with a clear logical transition. Associated through thought can seem random as it leaps from one thing to next with the help of only ambiguous or seemingly non-existent connection, even as it can also feel similar to actual random leaps that are a part of a people everyday thought. As an example, character thoughts are often presented to the reader in a response to sensor impression fragment observation describing what the character sees, hear, smell, feel, and taste. Repetition. Repetition. Writer might use the repetition to indicate that the character keep coming back to, or is fixed on a certain thought or sensory impression. Repeated word and phrases can act as a signpost, pointing a reader towards a significant theme and motive. For an example, if a character mind is constantly returning to the scent of a woman's perfume, the reader might conclude that the character is fascinated by or attracted to. Then fourth is about a plot structure. Some writer may also choose to arrange a event out of a chronological order, or to give a reader detail about the past thought, character memories, in the sound and the William Faulkner convey many important event and detail through the memories that arise as a part of a different character stream of consciousness. Many writers who employed a stream of consciousness also experience with a structure incorporating element multiple unreliable narrator or non-linear plot structure. A stream of consciousness in the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. Modernist poet T.S. Eliot used a stream of consciousness in his famous poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. I grew old, I grew old. I shall wear the bottom of my trouser rolled. Shall I part my hair behind? Do I dare to a pitch? I shall wear white flanned trouser and walk upon the beach. I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me. This is written by T.S. Eliot in his poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. So in this poem, he shows that the interior monologue of Prufrock emphasize the satirical tone of Eliot and his concern for the loss of individuality and identity, the loneliness and distance of society. And James Joyce and a stream of consciousness. James Joyce was born at 2nd February 1882, and he was died at 13 January 1941. He was an Irish novelist, short story writer, poet, teacher, and a literary critic. A writer from Ireland wrote his masterpiece Ulysses, which serves as a landmark in the modernist literature. He is the earliest and the best known practitioners of a stream of consciousness. The study would focus on two of the Joyce novel, which epitomized his signature stream of consciousness prose style. Portrays of an artist as a young man, which is also an autobiographical novel of Ulysses. For Joyce, his fiction is marked by a moment of intense realization when his character study discover truth about themselves and are given a moment of intense insight. For an example, in Araby, the teenage protagonist, having a developed and neutral his love for the shapeless Mengan's sister, is suddenly forced to realize the shallowness of his love and how stupid he has been. Virginia Woolf and stream of consciousness. Virginia Woolf is considered one of the prominent writer who is recognized as the most important feminist writer of all the time. Used the stream of consciousness technique to great signifies in his work. She is a writer who is known for his final treatment of problem of love and loneliness. Her novel To Lighthouse will be dealt with this study. For Woolf, on the other hand, her fiction feature moment of important, which she defined as follow. Examine for a moment as an ordinary mind on ordinary day. The mind receives myriad impression, tribal fantasy, inventions on and engraved with the shapeness of steel from all the side. They came in shows the innumerable atom, and as they fall, as the shape themselves into the life. The importance of stream of consciousness technique in the modern literature. The role of stream of consciousness is in a literature is typical as a character study. It is a purpose innovated in the modern prose style. The modernist writer such as a Woolf uh, and her contemporary wanted their work to reflect a life in its complete authenticity, mirroring the universal human experience. Hence, is the study would try to locate how far these novelists have succeeded in achieving it. The character is not speaking to the audience in this literary device as he or she is in the monologue, but is rather speaking to himself. Here you can see the references, and thank you.
Yeah, okay, you can stop sharing. And questions to Bhavyang?
What do you mean by stream of consciousness?
It is a narrative style that tries to capture characters through process in a realistic way. It is an interior monologue, but it is also more than that.
Hello, Bhavyang. My question is, can, can we write stream of consciousness in the third person?
Uh, the use of language to mimic the streaming nature of consciousness thought, it can be written in the first person as well as the third person. What make it different?
Thank you.
Most welcome.
Okay, so Bhavyang, if you want to score full marks in the last two research points, then you have to still work on your references. As we have talked earlier also, so still your references are not up to the mark. For example, the last one that you have given, T.S. Eliot, the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Now this has to go with Eliot, comma, T.S., and then everything comes. It is very simple. So this simple, even showed in Flipnet, you have given something from maybe the thesis uploaded on Shodh. So there also you have to find the name of the person. Little bit difficult. It is bit difficult when you go to Shodh in Flipnet website. Shodh Ganga website is there, where all the theses of entire India, all universities theses are uploaded. If you are not aware, other students also, then bookmark this website, Shodh Ganga. Shodh Ganga website, where the thesis published PhD work which is done in India in all universities, it is uploaded. It is free for everybody to download and read any thesis, and it is a good work to refer when you prepare for your research writing and other things. But finding a name is a bit difficult. You have to try several ways to search to get to the name of the person who is the writer, but without name you cannot mention that you have to be careful of, and avoid citing from study notes, study material, students assignments. That should be avoided. Lit charts is again a study material website, so which should be avoided when you try to work for your research presentations, research assignments. And one more thing which you need to correct in your next semester is don't read everything. Try to talk with the audience. Try to talk. You are reading line by line everything. So try to see that this change you can bring, and you are having an eye contact and rather talking with the audience instead of reading everything word by word. Okay, next presenter is Bhumika.
Yes, sir. Let me share my screen. My screen is visible.
Hi, it is visible. You can start. Yeah.
Today, good noon, everybody. Today, my topic is comparison between two poems, that is Dulce at Decorum East and The Soldier. First, we have to see that the biographical information about both the poets. First is Wilfred Edward Salter Owen. MC was an English poet and soldier. He was one of the leading poets of the First World War. And the second is Rupert Joyner Brooke, was an English poet known for his idealistic war sonnets written during the First World War, especially The Soldier. He was also known for his boyish good looks. Then, if we talk about the poem Dulce at Decorum East, this was written from Owen's period at the War Hospital in Craiglochart and in Edinburgh. In this, Owen was anxious to describe the way in a truthful way because, as it really was, because he saw no point in lying. I can see no excuse for deceiving you about these last 3 days, and I have suffered a seventh hell. Uh, Owen, in his poem Dulce at Decorum East, responds to a line by it's sweet to die for the sake of one's country. In this, Owens is criticizing Horace's romanticization of war by showing the brutality of trench warfare in World War One, which was a very different sort of war than that envisaged by the Roman poet due to the industrialization of military technology. That is rather than war being a matter of individual bravery, and it was a matter of mass killing. That infection or disease killed or maimed as many as direct hits by artillery. Then, if we talk about the main message of this poem, Dulce at Decorum East, that is the main message from this poem is sweet. It is not sweet and fitting to die for one's country. And as so many people choose to believe that war is tragic and awful and gruesome and miserable, and so are the effects that it has on young people. Then a metaphor of this poem compares the effects of their extreme fatigue to being drunk. All three of these comparisons paint pictures of the awful effects war has on these young, healthy men, and they now seem older, decrepit, decrepit and weak, when they ought to be vital, vibrant, and innocent. Then, in the poem "The Soldier," this was fifth in a series of poem entitled 1914. The poem is sentimental, patriotic, and epitaphic. In this poem, the closing sestet, the poem speaker suggests that his soul is eternally linked with England. The poem's familiar opening lines acquired even greater uh, poignancy as a result of Brooks' own wartime death. Then the question will be arriving that how are the soldier and girls at decorum is the similar, which points are matching in this both of the poem. First, the themes of the soldier and the girls at are very similar, as both deal with death, patriotism, and sacrifice and glorification of war. But the poems come to very different conclusions. Uh, then the poetic techniques, Owen writes this Dulcet decorum is with many poetic techniques such as similes, metaphors, personifications, rhyming, alliteration, hyperbole, onomatopoeia, direct speech, and irony. And irony is a key factor that shapes Owen's poem Dulcet decorum is. And while in the soldier, Brooke used alliteration, imagery, and rhyming. And example of one of these that Brooke uses in the poem is when alliteration is used to show the brilliance of England through repetition of consonants in sights and sounds. Then, in the style of Dulcet decorum East is similar to the French ballad poetic form by referencing this formal poetic form and then breaking the conventions of patterns of and rhyming. Owen acute accentuates that disruptive and chaotic events being told. And while in the soldier, it is a sonnet of two stanzas and octet of 8 lines and a sextet of 6 lines. It is the last in a series of 5 sonnets composed shortly after the outbreak of World War One. The soldier is about the probable death of a soldier, but the poem has little to do with dying. In the conclusion, we find that in this poem, The Soldier, Brooke depicts an idealized version of England to show his love for his country and to justify the possible death of himself and other soldiers during the war. And second, in the Dulcet decorum is an extreme contrast to soldier as Owen tries to expose the reality of war with his very direct and realistic style. And here is my references and thank you very much all.
Sir, please
Sir,
unmute.
unmute your mic. Sir, please unmute your mic.
Okay, yes, questions to Bhumika. Who is going to ask questions?
Hello, Bhumika.
Yes, sir. Yaditi.
My question is, what is the main message of the poem Duels at Decombs East?
Yes, the main message of this poem is it is not sweet and fitting to die for one's country as other people wants there.
Thank you.
Why Dulc at Decom East is well known.
It is well known due to its angry and bitter violence.
Okay, this poem is Dulce, Dulce et decorum est. Dulce et decorum est.
Okay.
Spanish word, dulce. Sometimes it is also pronounced as dulce, dulce, the or se. That is how it is pronounced. Two pronounced in both the ways. Th in thin or sa in sin. Dulce or dulce. Either way it is pronounced. Okay. Okay, good comparison. Good comparison was there. You cited one resource also, Bartleby Research essay on comparing the soldier and Dulce et decorum est also. Okay, fine. Yes, next presenter is Chandani.
Yes, sir. For my presentation, I would request to Bhavyan, please share your screen. Hello everyone, I am Janani Pandya. Today I am present topic on modernism in literature, paper number 110, A History of English Literature from 1900 to 2000. Next. Okay, modernism introduction, a trend of thought that affirmed the power of human beings to create, improve, and reshape their environment with the aid of scientific knowledge, technology, and practical experimentation. Progressive and optimistic political, cultural, and artistic movement rooted in the changes in Western society at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century. Next. Thinkers of the time, the most destructive thinkers in modernism is the Charles Darwin, biology, Karl Marx in political science, Sigmund Freud in psychology, Darwin theory of evolution by natural selection, survival of the fittest notion. Human beings were driven by the same impulses as lower animals, undermining religious certainty of general public sense of human uniqueness of the intelligence, enabling spirituality. Next. Karl Marx, problems with the economic order were not precisely the result of specific wrongdoers of imposed conditions. Fundamentally, conditions within the capitalist system. Sigmund Freud, human mind, basic fundamental structure, subjective experience based on interplay of the part of the mind, all subjective reality based on the play of basic drives and instincts through which the outside world was perceived. A break with the past external and absolute reality could impress itself on individual. Next. Thought of the time is imperialism, a school of painting, focus work done outdoors. Human beings do not see object, but instead see life itself. Symbolism, language as expressly symbolic in its nature, portrayal of patriotism. Next. Modernist literature overview, move from the bonds of realist literature, introduce concepts such as disjoint timeline disguised by emancipatory meta-narrative, a comprehensive explanation of historical experience of knowledge and explanation for everything that happens in society, move away for romanticism. Next. formal characteristic of modernism literature, open form, discontinuous narrative, juxtaposition. In juxtaposition, two unlike things are put next to one another, a quality of being unexpected to compare, contrast the two to show similarities or differences. Classical allusion. In a classical allusion, a figure of speech making a reference to or representation of a place, event, literary work, myth, or work of art, directly or by implication. Next, classical allusion. Agar, sorry. Free verse. In free verse, verb libre style of poetry that are not written using strict meter or rhyme. uh, Intellectuality. In intellectuality, coined by Persualist Julia Kristeva in 1966, shaping text meaning by other text, authors borrowing and transformation of a prior text. Uh, Meta-narrative. In meta-narrative, sometimes master or grand narrative, a global or totalizing culture narrative schema, ordering the explaining knowledge and experience. And disillusionment. In disillusionment, feeling arising from the discovery sometimes is not what is was anticipated to be. More severe the traumatic than common disappointment. Next, thematic characteristics of modernist literature in a stream of consciousness, a literary technique portraying an individual point of view by giving the written equivalent of the character's thought process, either in a loose internal interior monologue or in connection to his or her sensory reaction to excellent occurrence. A spatial form of interior monologue characterized by associative lips and syntax punctuation, making the prose difficult to follow, tracing a character fragmentary thought and sensory feeling. Disguised from dramatic monologue, the speaker is addressing an audience or third person, used chiefly in poetry or drama. Next, and in a stream of consciousness, a fictional device speaker's thought process depicted as the overhead in mind. Example: Ovid, Metamorphosis. Sir Thomas Browne in The Gardener of Cyrus, rapid unconnected association of object, geometrical shape, numerology. Next, here is my references and thank you.
Okay, questions?
Yes, Chandani.
Yes, there.
What are the elements of modernism in literature?
Uh, Cultural fragmentation, lyric of life, loss and exile, narrative authority, social evils are the elements of modernism in literature.
What is the main idea of modernism?
Repeat the question.
What is the main idea of modernism?
Modernism was essentially based on a utopian vision of human life and society and a belief in progress or moving forward. Modernism ideals provided art, architecture, literature, religious, faith, philosophy, social organization, activities of daily life, and even in the sciences.
Okay, for next semester, you also, like Bhavyang, you also need to learn to talk rather than only reading all the slides. If you can do that, it will be good improvement on your presentations. Okay, next presenter is Daya.
Yes, sir. I am sharing my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. Is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, now it is.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's my topic is science fiction in a modern setting. So what is science fiction? Science fiction is a writing style which combines science and fiction both, and it evoke to the response of fantasy fiction. And according to Sterling Bruce, science fiction is a form of fiction that deals principally with the impact of actual or imaging science upon society or individuals. Then the term science fiction was popularized, if not invented, in the 1920s by one of the journal's principal advocates. And also, science fiction allows allows writers to see the future as a consequence of our present day. Apart from this term, science fiction was not used until about 1930. Science fiction tales have been told since before the invention of the writing. And one of the earliest science fiction writers was Lucian of Samosata, who around 100 BC wrote a fantasy about a journey to the moon. And modern science fiction began to take shape in the 19th century. What are the key elements of the science fiction? The first of all, setting. Science fiction is set in the future, and and most of its stories taken place in the future. Another elements of science fiction is it predicts the future about the technological development, and it inspires us towards the technology. And it presents some kind of prediction or warning about the future. So this is usually considered as the theme, as we have seen in the Frankenstein. It warns us to the future. And other common elements are space travel, exploration, aliens, and monster, often the product of radiation, and futuristic technology like weapons, computers, and especially robots. And the robot was coined by a sci-fi, means scientific writer. Key themes in the science fiction. The first theme is concern the contention between the individual and the larger society. It explores contemporary issues such as individual rights, social demands, our cultural coming under increasing surveillance, culture, and rampant anti-intellectualism. And the second theme is we will look into the rapidly evolving computer technology and artificial intelligence. We can say that science fiction is sound like fantasy fiction, though both are different, but both involves imagination. Fiction not involve magical or impossible elements, while fantasy fiction involves supernatural elements and magical and all. So fantasy plots can include magic, dragons, and unicorns. Here is the picture of dragons. Dragon is one kind of mythical creature that is used in various texts, and dragons have been described as a monster, serpents, reptiles, or beasts, and usually it have wings and breathe fire. So this is the dragon, and the dragon has a various types like red dragon, yellow dragon, and blue dragons. These all are present in various texts. Fantasy might be considered an escape from reality with no prediction or warning, while scientific fiction is meant to be a reminder of what is happening in the world today. According to Ray Bradbury, he says about science fiction and fantasy fiction that science fiction is a depiction of the real, while fantasy is a depiction of the unreal. Because fantasy fiction includes supernatural elements and magic, while science fiction includes a real element, and it predict technology to the future. Science fiction plots can be explained through the science, and the science used usually doesn't currently exist. Instead, authors predict that it could exist at some point in the future. And sci-fi authors are known for often being very right. Marshall Beating said in his one of his articles, "Science Fiction: A Brief History and Review of Criticism," in that he mentioned that science fiction is a literature with a heritage reaching back into ancient times, to a pre-scientific world inhabited by people whose myths, legends, and superstitions become a way of thinking about and explaining the wonders of the universe. The seeds of science fiction were planted thousands of years ago as the human species dream of the great unknown. Here is another reference from the article by Virginia F. Barrett. He said about science fiction that I used to believe that science fiction was a form of proto-literature, like a written lace from which the great cycle of Arthurian romance were supposed to have emerged. And that when the stock of Guthrie was compiled, some genius would take the whole imagery world and turn into literature. But I was wrong. Virginia said that I was wrong. Science fiction is a prototype, not of science literature, but of science fact. And the best way to improve it is to leave the literary elements out. Science fiction is also defined loosely as a fiction that deals with the impact of science and technology of the world. And sometimes the technology is real, sometimes it is entirely imagined, or sometimes it has been imagined by an author and then brought to reality by scientists. So science fiction themes often warn of the potential for a disaster when technology is abused. Here are some examples of famous author of scientific fiction. George Orwell, and his fiction was 1984 and Animal Farms. Another one is Brave New World by Aldous Huxley and Time Machine by H.G. Wells. These are the examples of science fiction. And another genres related to the science fiction was utopian literature, dystopian, and ecotopian literature. The utopian literature, and the word utopia resembles to the Greek word no place or utopos and good place. Utopos is the vision of an ideal society. Dystopian literature, it is defined as a society characterized by a focus on mass poverty, suffering, or oppression. And ecotopian literature, where the author either of utopian or dystopian world involving around environment, conservation, or destruction. Here are my references from where I have taken my content. Can I stop sharing, sir?
Yes, you can stop sharing. And questions?
Yes, Daya.
Yes.
What defines a science fiction film? Can you give any example from movie or text?
Science fiction film, it includes the stories that is conflict between science and technology and conflict between human nature. An example is Frankenstein and in movie Jurassic Park or Robot. This we can include as a science fiction.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Daya. Yes. Hello. My question is how scientific fiction differ from fantasy fiction? Scientific fiction is differ from fantasy because scientific fiction is rely on
on scientific and technology, while fantasies rely on supernatural elements or magical elements. And scientific fiction is based on science, while fantasy fiction is not based on science. And scientific fiction deals
Yes.
with scientific fiction deals with scientific concept, while fantasy deals with imaginary concept. So these are the differences.
Okay, good. You have in this presentation you have used it very well. This concept of citing in text citation. And so this was what we were talking in last 2 days also, that if you want to score maximum points in last two points about research and citation, then this way, this is one way that you can use. I am sharing a screenshot here. So you have cited Marshall B. Team, and this way you are using it, that Marshall B. Team in article Science Fiction, A Brief History and Review of Criticism is saying this. And based on that, you try to make argument, either in support of your argument you are using it, or whatever way. There are two times you used these references. This was by Virginia F. Barrett, the genre of science fiction. There also you cited. So this is what second last column in our rubric. Second last column in our rubric is about this. So this way you can use in-text citations, and then you try to make use of these observations in making an argument in your presentation. That is one of the way that you can score better points in last two columns. Okay? So that was good to see that you have used that in this particular presentations, and we hope that you all will continue doing the similar way in semester 3 and semester 4 also. Okay, next is Hiral.
Yes, sir. Daya, will you share your screen for my presentation?
Yes, I am sharing my screen.
Okay, so myself Hiral Kashyap, and today I am going to present modernist literature and science fiction in it. So modernist literature, next slide. Okay, modernism was essentially based on a utopian version of human life and society and a belief in progress or moving forward. Modernist ideals pervaded art, architecture, literature, religion, faith, philosophy, social organization, activities of daily life, and even the science. Next. Literary modernism or modernist literature organized in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, mainly in Europe and North America, and is characterized by self-conscious break with traditional ways of writing in both poetry and prose fiction. 5 characteristics of modernist literature. Experimentation. Modernist literature employed a number of different experimental writing techniques that broke the conventional rules of storytelling. Some of those techniques include blended imaginary and themes, absurdism, and stream of consciousness, which is a free-flowing inner monologue. Second is individualism. Modernist literature typically focuses on individual rather than society as a whole stories, follows character as the adapt from changing world, often dealing with difficult circumstances and challenges. Multiple perspectives. Many modernist writers wrote in the first person perspective with multiple characters to emphasize the subjectively of each character and add depth to the story by presenting variety of viewpoints. Literary devices. Many modernist writers rely on literary devices like symbolism and imaginary to help the reader understand the writing and create a stronger connection between the text and reader. Next. I would like to give an example of modernist literature, which is sci-fi movie, Inception. Inception is a 2010 science fiction action film written and directed by Christopher Nolan, and who is also produces the film with Emma Thomas, his wife. Inception. Next. Even the dreams are highly structured things. If you die in the dream or fall in the real world, you wake up, you can feel pain, and there is an exact connection between dreams and time and real time. Inception is definitely science fiction, even though Cobb never dreams of tattooing or tattooing. The way the film is set up, Inception is a story about a man trying to get home to his children. In truth, the underlying message as we interpret it of this sense mentioned about is that Cobb is actually still dreaming, and in the end, his dreams are his new home. What is the science of Inception? Wagner and his colleagues rebounded their way into people's dreams. Inception, the science, the rebound effect is a method of control contents of someone else's dream. Inception work in this movie and in real life. Inception also makes a point about the difficulty of knowing something is a real of a dream. Science fiction generally has imaginative but somewhat possible premises. As the name implies, the genre is concerned with the technology and science. Classic sci-fi movie were often set in future or outer space or focused on the scientific discovery, robot, clones, etc. This tend to be a genre of idea, and a filmmaker uses to explore philosophical ideas such as ethics, social structure, and identity, especially what it means to be human. Some example of science fiction movies are the Godzilla and Planet of the Apes, Star Wars, Aliens, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. In the Inception, memory is a theme that that reflects how unresolved attachment one has to the past can linger in the subconscious, foreclosing the possibility of true happiness. Male, in the particular, is a character that embodies Cobb's toxic and self-destructive tendency to live in a theater of memory where she is still alive. Next. So here is the conclusion. Modernist literature focused on science, philosophy, art, and variety of creative elements to examine the human experience. Inception is to plant an original idea deep in the target's mind that their powerful subconscious becomes convinced it is real and their own. Inception is a modernism because in Inception, next slide. In Inception, it's a representation of psychological reality and time as an interior concept. Inception tendency towards genetic cross-reference and intertextuality creates a relationship with audience and both playing with complementing their knowledge of the films. Next. Here are my references and thank you.
Yeah, okay, you can stop presenting. And questions to her?
Hello, Hiral.
Yes.
My question is there any other movie like Inception written by Christopher Nolan?
Yes, there is. It is a Tenet. There is a different concept than this movie, but Tenet is also written by Christopher Nolan, and it is also like that movie. And Robert Pattinson is leading that movie. It was about time traveling and time machine. Next.
Thank you.
Yes, who is next to ask?
Sorry, I am sir. You have given the example of what is the name of the film?
Inception.
Inception. So, do you find any key elements of the scientific fiction in this film?
Yes, it is a mind controlling and exploration of mind and dreaming. And time matters in this movie a lot. So time is we can say time as well.
Okay, fine. So you were asking about citations, no? So I'm seeing here in the Google Classroom where you have submitted the PDF copy. In Nolan's spelling also you have written L capital, no Lun. So whether it is right or not, in Inception I is not capital. Then still second last, that is modernism in bracket 1995. This also is APA style, APA. So what you like need to do is you can search for this auto citation generators. There are many citation generators where you give the details and they will put it into MLA and APA automatically. So these minor errors can be removed. So such tools, if you are using Word, like that is in laptop, if you use Word to prepare your citations, then there is one additional feature given by Microsoft company in MS Word, wherein they will convert it into APA, MLA, if you just fill the details. So such minor errors can be removed. And people don't have to go deep into understanding what is the difference between various citation styles. There are innumerable. Medicinal articles are written in different way. Engineering articles are written in different citation style. For our literature, normally it is MLA style used. If you are doing ELT work, ELT, because language is more about science. So then APA style is used in ELT because language study is more scientific. So psychology, social sciences use APA style. Literature, normally MLA style is used. So if you don't want to go deep into understanding the difference, then you have to use some machine, and MS Office in Word is giving the machine, but most of you are not using laptop. Most of you are on your mobile phone. So you will have to use some web services. Web services are there where you just have to find, you have to Google citation machine or auto citation generator, these kinds of words. Then you will find many websites. Some are paid, some are free. So you can try several things and then give the detail. Automatically it will generate alphabetical order, year, full stop, comma. You don't have to worry about those things. So then minor errors can be removed from this. Okay, fine. Next is Jignesh.
Yes, sir. Here I am going to share my screen for today's presentation. I think my screen is visible for you. Let me know.
Yes, it is visible. Yes, it is full screen now. You can start here.
My topic is a key difference between existentialism, which is absurdism. So existentialism, which is absurdism. So this person was referring the philosophy of existentialism, especially with 20th century European philosopher, particularly Jean-Paul Sartre, who popularized the term. But some scholars extend the term back to Soren Kierkegaard, and other extend it as far as back as Socrates. So what is the existentialism? First, let's go over what is the existentialism. Is a belief that the world intrinsically has no objective meaning, but through a combination of free will, awareness, and personality, responsibility, we can create our own subjective meaning. The basic of Sartre existentialism is the phrase existence precedes essence. Meaning no general account what it means to be a human can be given, at that meaning can only be decided and constructed through existence itself. So some of the examples like waiting for Godot. So here is a dialogue. They can come out of this situation and can give their lives a meaning, but they do not nothing. Estragon dialogue is notable in this regard. He says, nothing happens, nobody comes, nobody goes, it's awful. He knows that that situation is awful. So here is another existential means licky licky on the chin. What's the meaning of this world I am in? And what is absurdism? So absurdism means it's only nature for humans to seek out meaning in life. However, conflict occurs when we go to do so. Find the universe is really cold, chaotic, utterly devoid of any meaning at all. It's this contradiction between our mind's search for meaning and the reality of nature that absurdism founder Albert Camus called the absurd. Also, there is one meme on Donald Trump. I can't believe Joe Biden won. All the cheating, water suppression, Russian money, dirty tricks, corrupt Republican official, and I am still the loser. So, for example, if a cow knew that his higher purpose was to be eaten, that we would not be satisfied. If another example, if I knew that we knew that we were born to die, we couldn't not ultimately find contentment. So the point is, what is existentialism and what is absurdism? So as you know that existentialism precedes essence, and also absurdism means there is a chaos, struggle, and there is no meaning of life. According to some existentialists, believe in free will and that we have a duty of pursue freedom, while absurdists are not set on the concept of free will. They believe that people should just try their best to live a defense to and in spite of psychological tension of the absurd. And although these constructs are similar, you can see how Camus departed from the existential crowd and went his own way with some unique idea about how to live a life, what reality it is. And also Sartre constructing meaning was ontological. It was your essence and being. Plus the pursuit of meaning can have a meaning itself. And if we see for absurdists, meaning is more transient, and that meaning is always nullified by the death. In the end, for absurdists, any meaning we construct is ultimately meaningless, since the universe is an absurd place we can't even begin to fully comprehend. The pursuit of creative meaning is possible with existentialism. That is the goal. For absurdists, meaning might be possible, but it probably is irrelevant to the entire human experience anyway. And here is my website. And thank you so much.
Okay, questions to Jignesh?
Yes, Jignesh. How will you define the existentialism in your meaning?
If I see that existentialism means there is a meaningless activity, but exact things that existentialism precedes essence, that's more important. And if we can compare with absurdism, so there is yesterday on Twitter I saw that there is one meme on Bumrah, that Bumrah is a sun, but Bumrah doesn't shine in the England. So that's meme depicted by the any person. So who has I think who has believed that that's absurdity, which I saw, because that's not fault of Bumrah, but maybe the fault of every team. We have not done hard work, and also that atmosphere is different, the pitch is different, that's why we have lost that. So existentialism to absurdism, we have to do hard work. That's the essence we have to get from the topic.
Okay, Jignesh. So, can you give some example related to your topic?
Yes, if we see that absurdism, so we can't jump on the terrace without a CD. So that's a point that we have to. That's absurdism. We are believing in God, like Vardhamin and Esther. Both are just waiting for Godot, but Godot will never come. So in our life, there are so many persons who just believe in fate and God kind of activities, but they don't do hard work, and they are just waiting for someone. Someone will come and the solution, and they can give the solution of life. So that's the absurdity, and also we have seen in Samuel Beckett's play Waiting for Godot. So that's life, and that's why I have related.
Okay, one of the interesting differences that you will see between absurdism and existentialism is that they both agree that the universe is inherently meaningless. But existentialism states that we must create our own meaning. We must create our own meaning in this meaningless universe. So the existentialist mantra, at least of the Sartrean variety, Sartre, Jean-Paul Sartre, says that existence precedes essence. So we are born, we exist, and then we must choose to craft our own essence, our own purpose, our own meaning. That is the absurdism, on the other hand, focuses on the tension between a meaningless universe and our constant striving to find meaning. This tension is what gives rise to the absurd. So you are in between in absurdism. You are Trishanku. You are in between. You feel the tension. What is the tension? Tension is between meaningless universe and our constant striving to find meaning. And in between you are. That is absurdism. Existentialist, they believe that everything is meaningless, but I have to create my own meaning. I have to create my own essence, my own purpose. That is the interesting difference between existentialism and absurdism. Okay, fine. Next presenter is the last one for the day, Khushbu. Your voice is very low. Can you speak again?
My screen visible?
Yes, it is visible now. Yeah.
And my dear friends, today's my topic is trends and movements. And in that I have selected various movements. And let's see. Modernism. Origins of this movement were in late 19th and 20th centuries, and it is a self-conscious break from the traditional ways of writing in both poetry and fiction. Due to the effects of the World War, people were not having trust in anything, any of the scriptures or anything. So it was they started searching their own ways, totally different from the traditions, and due to that, they raise question on everything, on the rationality of human mind. It is search for the inner self and consciousness. Here is one quote by Theodor Adorno on the modernism. In the sharp contrast to traditional art, modern art does not hide the fact that it is something made and produced. On the contrary, it underscores the fact. So, modern art does not hide anything, but in fact, it highlights that it is made and produced. Stream of consciousness. This is another moment. It captures and narrates the natural flow of thoughts. The phrase first was used by William James in Principle of Psychology. Techniques used in modern novel also known as subjective or psychological novel. And the purpose of the stream of consciousness is to portray life and character by setting down everything that goes on in the hero's mind, notably all those important and chaotic thoughts sequences which occupy our idle and somnolent moments and to which in real life we pay ourselves little attention. So, stream of consciousness captures the character's thoughts or person's natural flow of thoughts, whether it is very much chaotic, but it is natural, continuous flow of thoughts, and author captures that thoughts and tries to narrate in his works. Stream of consciousness. Every definite image in mind is tapped and dyed in the free water that flows around it. The significance, the value of the image is all in this halo or penumbra that surrounds and escorts it. Consciousness does not appear to itself chopped in widths. It is nothing jointed, it flows. Let us call it the stream of thought, of consciousness, or of subjective life. These are the novelists of the stream of consciousness in England. Dorothy Richardson and his work is Painted Roofs, James Joyce, Ulysses, and a portrait of the artist as a young man. And Virginia Woolf. His major works are Mrs. Dalloway, To the Lighthouse, and The Waves. These all works are written in the technique of stream of consciousness. And these two are the paintings which describe the expressionism in a better way. Here we can see that one man is putting his hands on both the ears as if he is scared of something. So these paintings are little blurred ones, but they express the feelings, the state of mind of the person. So it shows the how emotions at the extremes, the expressions of the thoughts of mind are expressed in these pictures. Although they are blurred, but it shows expressionism. Expressionism, according to R.G. Hodger, expressionism is a form of romantic art in which emotion or emotive elements expressed through violent distortions and exaggeration are taken to the point of excess. It is a characteristic of art which emerges and becomes dominant in times of social and spiritual stress. An expressionist paints life not as it visible to him on the surface, but life as he or his character passionately feels it to be. It is the state of mind. The external appearance of his object is consciously distorted in order to represent the object as it is felt. Kurt Hiller was the first to apply the term expressionism to German literature in 1911. Then we have another movement, surrealism. It was the founder was Henri Breton, who in 1924 issued the Surrealist Manifesto, which explained that a higher quality could be captured by freeing the mind, logic, and rational control. Expression of imagination as realized in dreams and presented without conscious control. It is the exploration of mind, aimed at synthesizing the workings of the unconscious mind with those of the conscious mind. The surrealist is non-logical, anti-rational, and anti-realist. There was a point in the mind, he thought, where beyond realism is attained new knowledge. Surrealism spread all over the world. Belgium, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, Holland, Scandinavia, Britain, Japan, and the whole continent of South America. And it influenced the novel, the theater, the cinema, painting, and sculpture. In his manifesto, which appeared in 1929, Breton explained how the surrealist idea was to revitalize the psychic forces by vertiginous descent into the self, in quest of that secret and hidden territory where all that is apparently contradictory in our everyday lives and consciousness will be made clear. Symbolism. Origin in France in the later half of the 19th century. Edgar Allan Poe, which is the poet and a short story writer and novelist, pioneered symbolism in poetry. His poems that include The Raven, Ulalume, Linear, The Haunted Palace. This contain full of symbols, abundant symbols, and it is very nicely expressed, very excellently expressed in his poems, the symbols. A symbolist uses words to describe a mode of literary expression in which words are used to suggest states of mind rather than for their objective, representational or intellectual content. So it expresses state of mind rather than intellectual or anything. According to Poe, the chief aim of the poet is to catch a glimpse of the supernatural beauty which can be provided by the employment of symbols. Futurism, a style developed by a group of Italian artists in the 20th century. The futurists were revolutionary and radical in their approach to art and literature. Futurists stood for a complete break with tradition and exploration of new forms, new subjects, and new styles, all keeping in with the advent of the mechanistic age. The main principle of this movement were dynamism, the cult of speed and machine, rejection of the past, and the glorification of patriotism and power. It includes in free verse, phonetic poetry, and a telegraphic language without adjectives or adverbs or much syntax. It stood for the liberty of language. Dadaism was founded in Zurich in 1916 by Tristan Tzara with the avowed object of perverting and demolishing the tenets of art, philosophy, and logic and substituting them with conscious madness as a protest against the madness of war. It was opposed to form and order. The artists and poets used collage to arrange objects and words into meaningless and illogical patterns. So it avoided form and order. It wished to destroy art along with bourgeois society. In this mostly were collage effects, the arrangement of unrelated objects and words into a random fashion. These are citations.
Yes, you can stop sharing, and it was good, well prepared one. And like you have given these images for expressionism, the same way you should have given images for the other isms also. It would have made it more significant, because in this understanding this all isms and trends and movements of arts in 20th century, painting helps us a lot. Painting is always helping us. And then if you can find poems also about all these trends and movements, it will be still more significant to see that how you can give examples from poems also beyond paintings. Yes, questions to her?
Khushbu, Khushbu, can you define that what is the expressionism?
Expressionism is expression of the emotions and feelings of human mind, rather than the perfection or intellectuality.
Yes, by the time the answers are given, all of you other students start evaluating also. So don't forget to evaluate in this last presentation. So you all will get a clear-cut chart also of once everybody has submitted, then you will get a chart about how you are evaluated by your classmates in the presentations, which you can save for your digital portfolio also.
Okay, Khushbu, I want to ask you that. As you have explained surrealism, can you give an example of a modern from modern literature that can be surrealism or surrealistic?
Yes, there are many types of examples which can be found in literature, which can be surrealistic, like Henry Breton, yes, who in 1924 issued the first Surrealist Manifesto, which explained that a higher reality could be captured by freeing the mind from logic and rational control. So in his second manifesto, which appeared in 1929. Britain explained how the surrealist idea was to revitalize the psychic forces by a vertiginous descent into the self in quest of that secret and hidden territory where all that is apparently contradictory in our everyday lives and consciousness will be made plain. This type of work actually avoids logic and reasoning, but it follows some kind of institution of human mind. And this moment spread all over the world. Exact works I don't remember of this moment, but I can say that this moment is not based on logic and reasoning, but continuous flow of human mind and institution of human person when we think deeply and then we get some. It is kind of that.
So,
Hi,
I
yes.
want to ask something. Can we say that movie 2012 can be a surrealistic movie?
2012 means which one? 2012.
In which we are seeing everything is destroying itself because of the.
No, it is more of an apocalyptic film. Apocalyptic. The genre, because there is apocalypse literature also in 20th century. So apocalyptic or apocalypse means Qayamat ka din, the day of judgment, final day when everything will be destroyed. So it will fall under that. Surrealism is more of a matter of a treatment, that what kind of treatment is given to reality, That is what it makes. So there are surrealist poets. There is a book also titled as Surrealist Poets. Pablo Neruda is one very famous name. Pablo Neruda, Charles Baudelaire, Arthur Rimbaud. These are some of the famous names who are writing in this. But what helps in understanding this is more of the images in painting that helps in understanding that how surrealists do things with time, how they mold time, or how they visualize a time. That's why we have to go to images to look into this all isms that makes something easy for us to understand. So when you see this surrealist art or surrealist photography, then you find that what they do with reality. So there is a play with reality here. Beyond realism, they try to do things. So if you see such paintings here, or something that is done with reality here, this painting, if you see, there is a kind of a rock, and then some hands are put to rock. Then it becomes a kind of this playing digitally with this art thing. So basically, it is a kind of movements against realism, that we perceive reality in a particular way. But surrealists try to look at reality in a much different way, beyond some reality. It's not metaphysical reality, but surreal, where in a sense we try to understand well what it tries to say. But if you want to explain it, it's very difficult to explain. So, but yes, Inception can be considered, the treatment of film Inception is very surrealistic. It's because when you watch that film, you find that you are at different level. You are in dream sequence also. Something is happening in reality, something is happening in dream sequence. So that treatment, the street starts bending. So that are all surreal way of putting the thing that happens in mind in such a way. And you try to capture what is happening in mind, because in mind everything starts bending. Time bends in our mind. Physical world bends in a crooked way in our mind. And to give a kind of a picture or a poetic imagination is very tough. Even in cinema it is very tough. But Christopher Nolan is able to do that in films like Inception and many other films which he has made. Even in Batman series, he has made a trilogy on Batman series. There also he tried to bring these elements of surrealism there. Okay, fine. So a reminder again, everybody, to mark. Don't forget to mark, so I don't have to remind. And timestamp. Don't forget to give the timestamps in a proper way in the shared document there. Okay. And at we are going to have a group photo. So we are meeting at 1:50, just 10 minutes before the second slot that is going to begin. So we are meeting at that time, 1:50, for a group photo of the entire class. Okay? We are ending our class now here.